You, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Secretary Rubio, for being with us today. And I wanted to start with a topic that is very important to me personally, but also to my constituents. And we've been battling it at a national level, but unfortunately, it's a worldwide issue, and that's human trafficking. It remains an urgent and devastating human rights issue worldwide. It disproportionately targets women and children, trapping them in cycles of forced labor, sexual exploitation, and modern-day slavery. Combating this crisis requires sustained commitment to prevention, prosecution, and survivor support. An anti-human trafficking group recently shared with me that although this takes place overseas, it has a direct impact on our own citizens. I've learned that human traffickers have forced victims to work in scam call centers, where they are made to target vulnerable Americans, particularly the elderly, with the intent to steal money and commit identity theft. Secretary Rubio, what strategies is the department employing to ensure that anti-trafficking efforts remain effective and targeted, particularly in high-risk regions where women and children are most vulnerable? And what steps is the department taking to strengthen international cooperations and enforcement mechanisms to disrupt and expose trafficking networks and safeguard survivors?
Yeah, thank you for the question. First of all, that's one of the reasons why we preserved and actually advanced one of the bureaus under the Office of Coordinator for Foreign Assistance and Humanitarian Affairs. We have a new division, or not a new division, but moved under that branch of Population, Refugee, and Migration. And the key is, we're not in the business, in many cases, some of these programs in the past were about, frankly, accelerating migration, helping people along the migratory path as they came towards the United States. And we want to prevent mass migration because mass migration lends itself to human trafficking. I would argue in many cases mass migration, frankly, is human trafficking because you are getting people, you are charging them money, promising to bring them to the border of the United States, and then committing horrifying atrocities along the way, including in many cases handing those people over at the border to traffickers inside our own country who then tell them they have to pay off their debt by working for them. And this was happening, and it was happening on a consistent and horrifying basis. There's nothing humanitarian, there's nothing compassionate about mass migration. The only people who benefit from mass migration are the traffickers. And so that is one of the things that we want to be able to prevent. I think you also see, obviously, the opportunity to disrupt it at the ground level. I'm very concerned about Haiti, a country that we have seen a long history of not just the abduction of children and young girls, but of people writ large into trafficking networks. And so that's what instability creates in places like that. And I think all of our missions around the world already have a mandate, but will have an increased mandate in our view, not just to prevent mass migration, but to identify networks that are preying on vulnerable individuals for purposes of human trafficking. And I would say that there are many countries around the world that have a willingness to tackle it, but don't have the capacity. Right. And then there are other countries, frankly, who look the other way, because it's an industry or it's run by people who have ties to the government, and that needs to be called out as well.
Thank you so much. My constituents will appreciate that response.